This is the Venezia, a legendary tier Italian cruiser. Yep, that's right. The Venezia Bureau Project is complete. The project was available at no charge from the store. No 5,000 doubloons or 30 million silver credits. Just pick it up, start the project, and in about 2 months, if you play all the daily missions, the ship will be yours. The ship does have pretty potent semi-armor piercing shells, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but that does have a lot to do with the commander that I ended up going with, which is Azure Lane Zara. And the base trait is everything here. Audacious Challenger, the cruiser, main gun, semi-armor piercing shell damage. And I did try to go with a historical commander when I had the ship a couple months ago for 2 weeks with all the rest of the community contributors. I wasn't really able to make it work with a historical commander, so I went with Zara, which helps out the cruiser's main gun, semi-armor piercing shell damage. And for me, this is what it took to give me a ship that would get over 100,000 damage in each match I've played in Standard since I've used this commander and the setup. Your mileage may vary. You may not want to go with a pay-to-win commander like Zara and try to make something happen with the historical commander. If you do that, let me know what you did down in the comments below. But yeah, base trait, Audacious Challenger, cruiser main gun, semi-armor piercing, shell damage is improved. Then for inspirations, we went with Norman Scott, a directed impact, cruiser main battery shell grouping is improved, and Charles Madden. Main battery traverse speed and main battery reload time are also improved here. These are what I went with the inspirations. Beyond range, cruiser main battery range is improved. And here, this is another big difference between this commander and historical commander that I was trying to use is with this, you get like a 19-kilometer range of the main guns, and we'll check that out in the specs and details of the ship in a few minutes. Then we went with Audacious Interpreter, damage from cruiser main battery guns while firing them within 5 seconds after reload is improved by 8% here. That's maxed out at this rank. And legendary skill, Fortified is next, which improves the maximum HP of the ship and improves the incoming damage to the ship. Then we went with Fixated, cruiser main battery and shell grouping is improved, as is the Dispersion. We went with Refill Station here. Cruiser main battery reload time is improved, and the special effect when you're within 2 kilometers of an allied ship is a cruiser main battery range is improved another 10%, and that does make a big difference. So going up to legendary rank 4 will increase that radius up to 3.5 kilometers. Upgrades for the Venezia. Here we went with main battery mod 2 to help the main battery traverse speed. Traverse speed was a little suspect, but ship seems plenty accurate, and that is why I did not go with aiming systems mod 1. Then here we went with steering gears mod 2, and this just helps out the rudder shift time, which I think is I think it's needed because the ship is pretty slow and doesn't really maneuver around all that well. So rudder shift times improved by 20%. Here we went with a double steering gears setup here. Steering gears mod 3, rudder shift time is improved by another 40%, and steering gear repair time is improved by 80%. Then here we went with main battery mod 3, main battery reload time is improved by 10%, and the traverse speed takes a hit, and we did kind of compensate that with the upgrade slot number 1. And yeah, so the big thing that I did, oh good boy. So the main thing that I did not do when I had the ship for a couple weeks, when all the community contributors had the ship, is I was dumb enough to not use semi-armor piercing shells because I didn't want to take a hit on the reload time. But now that I've Went with semi-armor piercing shells. You pretty much, I'm going to say you have to do this. Reload time is now 18 seconds. I think that adds another 3 seconds to the reload time off of the stock reload time. So lesson learned. Loadout: ammunition, semi-armor piercing shells, armor piercing shells, and torpedoes, which we will get into in a little bit. Damage control party consumable. Duration is 5 seconds, reloads every 60 seconds, and you will not run out of those consumables. Exhaust smoke generator consumable. This is a rolling smoke. The red one there is rolling smoke. Duration is 30 seconds. Dispersion is 35 seconds, and it reloads every 160 seconds, and there are 2 of those rolling smokes. Then we have the catapult fighter consumable here. Duration is 100 seconds. Reloads every 80 seconds, and number of consumables is 3. Follows a ship and automatically attacks enemy aircraft. I think the catapult fighter, I thought that it would spot other enemy ships, but with all the changes, it's hard for me to actually tell what's going on there. Go ahead and leave a comment down below if you know for sure what the catapult fighters do now as far as spotting ships. I think they don't spot torpedoes, but they might spot ships, something like that. Next is a repair party consumable, which will partially restore the ship's HP by repairing any light damage at the rate of 264 hit points per second. Duration is 28 seconds, reloads every 80 seconds, and there are 2 of those consumables. We're not running any boosters, but that could change depending on the match. As far as the camo goes, the ship does not come with a camo. You can select the standard camo here. I did not do that. I kind of like the Regia Marina camo, and that's what I've selected. Sea detectability and incoming fire dispersion is 4.5% respectively. Specs: survivability hit points is 52,970. Armor is 6 to 200 millimeter. Torpedo damage reduction is 28%. Artillery: you have 15 guns. Wow, that is a lot of guns. Firing range is 17.6 kilometers. I did say it was 19 kilometers, and that's true when refill station is active to increase the main gun range by 10%. Reload time is 17.4 seconds. Traverse time is 24.1 seconds. AP shells have a maximum of 4,800. Semi-armor piercing has more than that, 5434, and I will only use semi-armor piercing shells during any match. The ship does have secondary armament. There's 24 guns, only 5 kilometer range though, but still you want to keep that in mind and target enemy ships with your secondaries if you get the opportunity. Torpedoes: you have 2 launchers, you have 2 triple launchers. Reload time is 71 seconds, which is pretty good for a cruiser. Maximum damage is 13,900. Range is 13.5 kilometers, which is great. Speed is 56 knots, which isn't so great, but it is what it is. AA defenses: you will probably clear the sky with the Venezia if you're in a match with an aircraft carrier, which is more likely these days, and he wants to try to make that happen. Maneuverability: maximum speed is 36.6 knots. Turning circle radius is 3/4 of a kilometer. Rudder shift time is 6.5 seconds here with this build. Concealment: detectability range by sea is 11.8 kilometers. Range by air is 7.4 kilometers. And if you're firing into smoke, it is 7 kilometers. All right, and then the armor, I guess as far as the cruiser goes, this is really pretty good, except in the front right there. Let's see what happens when you go to the colors here. So 17 to 24 millimeters in the front, resists up to 102 millimeter HE shells. However, 102 armor piercing shells can penetrate and deal damage, so that's not that great. Yeah, really though, being a cruiser, if you go out in the open water, you have to really be mindful and be very maneuverable, or you will get taken out, especially when the entire team targets you, because the ship does not have the armor that the Napoli has, for example. So yeah. Overview: guns aplenty. High number of guns allow for a lot of damage from a single salvo. Ship is a sure shot, and shells with a good ballistic trajectory maintain velocity, making aiming easier. And yeah, the ship can be equipped with semi-armor piercing shells that deal consistent damage, ricochet less, but cannot start fires. Yeah, they do a lot of damage in a battle, as you will see in the highlight. So then the Venezia is a project for a ship with 8-inch, 203mm main guns and a high speed that embodies the achievements of Italian shipbuilding in the early 1940s. It represents the development of heavy cruisers in increasing the number of main battery guns to 15. Year of design was 1943, and there were no ships in the series. All right, well, that's it for the setup of the ship and the commander. Let's go out in the standard match and get an outstanding finish. All right, here we are in trap. A couple destroyers per side, a couple cruisers, a bunch of battleships, and an aircraft carrier. And yeah, when I tried the ship out a couple months ago, when I first got the ship with all the community contributors, I was not able to make it work. And I can usually make things work okay throughout the course of a couple weeks, but this time, for whatever reason, I just was not able to get the Venezia going with historical commander. So now with Azure Lane Zara, with the base trait of enhancing semi-armor piercing damage, I'm able to get a lot more going here with the ship. And the thing is, my historical commanders do not have Azure Lane Zara as an inspiration, and I was successful with the Italian cruisers, including the Napoli, with the historical commanders, and I didn't really want to change the historical commanders around just for this ship when literally every other cruiser in the Italian line I'm using Membellion. So there you go. That was my decision for why I did what I did during the initial 2 weeks that I had the ship. But with this setup, I have to admit, this ship is super accurate. Many times you'll see like pretty much 10 rounds are going to get a hit here out of the 15 guns, and that is just unbelievable. That is great accuracy, and when you're getting more damage per semi-armor piercing shell than you are with the armor piercing shells, that is, well, that's pretty spectacular. So I didn't want to use the pay-to-win commander, but I decided to give it a shot, and it really does seem to be the thing that does it here for this ship. So if you can make it work with a historical commander, A, you're a really good player, and B, go ahead and let me know what commander and setup you use down below. That would be awesome. Maybe I'll do a stream sometime and try that setup out. But yeah, here 22 hits and 14,000 damage on just a couple salvos. Got 2 hits, and we got 5,000 more damage on 2 hits right there. So we are just going to angle around and go after this cruiser that was sneaking around the island over here, and we're going to try to take him out. I haven't used any of the smoke yet, and a lot of times when I'm using the smoke, I'll end up getting sonared or radared, and yeah, it's only effective at great distances, it seems like, especially when you fire your main shells and next thing you know, you're spotted because you're within the 7 kilometers or whatever it is. So I think this cruiser went behind the island over there, so we're going to go around. Oh, there's a Schlieffen over there. That is not a cruiser. That is a battleship with a super long secondary possibility. He is getting nailed by my teammate right here, and that's good. The Frederick de Grosser is giving the Schlieffen a run for its money, and the Schlieffen in its own right is a super dangerous battleship. It's got great secondary. Ooh, check this out. Here is a Shimikaze Wall. I always wanted to do a video about that, but here you get to see a perfect demonstration of the Shimikaze Wall. And that just blanketed the entire channel right there with torpedoes, and that is from the red team Shimikaze. And the Schlieffen is not going to be around much longer, and we're going to take a salvo here. There's not much left of the guy, and that does it. With 13 hits, even though 10 were ricochets, with the semi-armor piercing shells. And we're backing up to avoid the torpedoes from the Frederick de Grosser. And there's that Shimikaze that unleashed the Shimikaze Wall. And we hit the Shimikaze with 7 rounds through that little gap in the island, and that is awesome. So yeah, the one thing about this ship, super accurate ship, may not need aiming systems mod 1, but that's why I'm using main battery mod 2. Like I said, ever since I've used this setup, win or lose, it's over 100,000 damage, and these semi-armor piercing shells just really leach damage off of the opposing ships. So 80 rounds have hit already. That is unbelievable. That is a great number of rounds for any ship, really, and a cruiser especially. All right, the Schroder is going in the gap there. Is the island indicator going to clear so I can get a shot? And it looks like it won't. I'm going above the island right there. But I am going to fire this set of torpedoes right here, and hopefully we can catch the Schroder as he's coming around, and hopefully he's going to pause and try to take out the Venezia here. That's the initial plan. We're going to back up, and as you can see, I'm turning around so that I'm aiming my bow toward the Schroder so that he doesn't get a good angle, but this looks like I have a good angle on the Schroder right there. So that is some massive damage right there. We got 6 hits for damage and 4 ricochets. That is awesome. I'm expecting, yeah, he gets taken out before the torpedo hits, but his death salvo is pretty darn damaging. Not that salvo, but the one before it. And that seems to happen more times than not, is when you destroy a ship and they've either got a salvo in the air or they fire a salvo right as they get destroyed, they really wreck your ship. And in many cases, it can destroy your match. That seems to happen to me more often than not. There are the 2 destroyers, one over to the right that I was eking at, that Shimikaze. There's Aleutian right here. 50,000 damage, and I'm going to say we're just getting started on the damage here. And here is a Yamato, and I'm going to try to use this island for cover, and you can see I'm turning out on the Yamato to not give him my broadside. Doesn't look like he's aiming toward me at the moment, so I can get some pretty good shots on him. And check out the damage right here, and that's 12,000 damage on 9 hits. So these semi-armor piercing shells with this ship will cause damage on battleships, and you don't really see that that often as with armor piercing as well on battleships. A lot of, ooh, look at that, 14,000 damage right there on 12 hits. So as I said, super accurate, well, super accurate demonstration right here is what it's looking like to me. And I'm going to hit the smoke to, yeah, I'm out of his sighting range, so I can take shots at him with the smoke screen. And here we have enough acceleration to get out of that last salvo that the Yamato took at me before I hit the smoke. Here I'm going to do a torpedo in the gap. You never know if he's going to come in here and slow up to try to take some shots at me or not. And there we have some shots at the Yamato because the island indicator did clear. And these are some more great hits, and we're up over 100,000 damage on 9 more hits, 6 of them for damage. So yeah, it kind of does look like he is slowing up here, doesn't it? So maybe these torpedoes are going to do something right here, but I'm taking another shot at him, and that takes him out. Looks like the Vermont got him, and not me, even though it looks like I did get all those hits. We're up to 113,000 damage. Here is a Hikaru that looks like it's right on the limit of my main gun range. So let's see if we can take him out. He doesn't really have much left, and if we just nick him like we did with one hit, we get a second destroyed ship. At the end of the day, nobody knows nothing about that one little nick of a hit. All they see is 2 destroyed ships and 114,000 damage. So it is just one cruiser left on the red team. The safe play is to go hide and get away from the cruiser, but being a highlight video, I'm going to go in here and try to capture the base right here, and ooh, we are spotted. There's a Zao. That is not good. I believe the Zao has a quicker reload than the Venezia does here, and the Zao can definitely do some big time damage. And there he cut half of our damage off, and here we fired some torpedoes. I don't think I'm going to get another salvo on him. I get half of a salvo, and he takes me out right there. And yeah, that is that's how the cookie crumbles right there. And wow, check this out. That was the end of the battle. 346,000 silver credits on 124,000 total damage performance, battle performance on 157 main gun hits. Shot down 14 aircraft. That's not so bad. 2 destroyed ships, a defended, a couple secondary hits. And let's see how we did on the team result. Well, third place overall with, 2,622 XP in the match for third place. That is a crazy high number for third place, but look at the fourth place player got 2,200, and the fifth place player got 2,000. So the blue team definitely racked up some big time damage right there. And that Vermont player with 2,700 XP. That is awesome. And the Schroder player got all the medals on the red team. So wow, check it out. There you go on that. Let's see how we did on the economy tab. And we cleared 132,000 credits by the time it was all said and done. All right, well, there you go. That's it for my look at the Venezia. With the Bureau Project, you have to have the tech tree tier 6, 7, and 8 cruisers for the Italian tech tree line in order to complete that Bureau Project. That's the only gotcha, if you can really consider that a gotcha. But the ship is a fun ship to play, especially if you have Zara to increase your semi-armor piercing shell damage like you saw in the video. If nothing else, you get to see a little bit about the ship. Let me know what you think down below. This is the Jaguar, and I'll see you on the high seas. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you like it.